Since Russia decided to provide Iran with hypersonic missiles, the entire world is holding its breath. This is not just a military deal, but a new geopolitical signal that the balance of power in the Middle East is shifting. The Zircon missile, developed and tested by Russia, is considered one of the fastest and most difficult to intercept missile systems in the world. And if Iran acquires this missile, it means that Israel and even America can no longer feel safe. The relationship between Iran and Russia has already taken the shape of a strategic alliance. Since the Ukraine war began, Western sanctions on Russia have intensified. During this time, Russia turned to new allies, and Iran proved to be its closest and most willing partner. Iran first provided Russia with its Shade drones, which Russia used against Ukraine. In return, Russia has now decided to transfer advanced missile technology to Iran, a move that is not just a threat to Israel, but also a nightmare for NATO countries. Zircon is a hypersonic cruise missile that travels at Mach 9 times the speed of sound. This makes it almost impossible for any radar system to track it. The missile can cover over 1,000 kilometers in mere seconds. Israel's Iron Dome or even the David Sling system is not yet prepared for such an attack. These systems are effective against short and medium-range missiles, but they have nearly zero success rate against hypersonic ones. If Iran obtains this missile, the first question is, will it use it? Iran's policy has always revolved around deterrence. But since tensions have escalated in Gaza, Syria, and Lebanon, Iran has openly stated that if Israel or the U.S. attacks any of its assets, the response will be heavy. With missiles like Zircon, Iran would not just respond, it would gain the courage to strike first. It's also important to understand that for Israel, Iran is not just a distant enemy. Hezbollah, Iran's proxy, is active along the northern border in Lebanon. Iranian militias are present in Syria. Hamas in Gaza also receives support from Tehran. If these proxies are empowered with hypersonic missiles, they can easily reach not just Israeli cities but also military bases, ports, and even nuclear sites. This would be a nightmare scenario for Israeli strategic planners. The Israeli military has not yet issued any official response to this development, but internal defense briefings reportedly reflect a state of panic. Mossad is said to have issued alerts that Iran's missile capabilities are changing dramatically and that the situation could become even more dangerous within the next 6 months. The U.S. is also monitoring the situation closely. The Pentagon has placed its Gulf bases, especially in Bahrain, Qatar, and the UAE, on high alert. Another critical aspect is that if Iran obtains this technology, it could export it as well. Syria, Lebanon, and even the Houthi rebels in Yemen would likely want to benefit from it. And if that happens, every country in the Middle East, Sunni or Shia, will be drawn into a new arms race. Do you think Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt will stay silent? Certainly not. They will also try to acquire hypersonic or advanced missile systems from Russia or China. This arms race will not stop in the Middle East. It will shake the global balance of power. Russia's advantage is that it is creating an alternative bloc against the West. Iran is a key pillar of that bloc. China has already become the third point of this triangle. The strategic coordination between these three countries in oil trade, military drills, and cyber cooperation is now becoming increasingly visible. And when military technology is exchanged freely, it means Cold War 2.0 is no longer a theory. It's becoming a real threat from Israel's perspective. This is not just a threat, it's an existential challenge. In its 70-plus years of existence, Israel has never faced a direct hypersonic threat. It has relied on nuclear deterrence to keep its enemies at bay. But hypersonic missiles are not just fast, they are also precise. If Tehran decides to target the Dimona reactor, it could reach it within seconds. If the attack is successful, it would not just be a failure of Israel's defense system, it could trigger a nuclear crisis. The international community is currently in a state of confusion. The United Nations has not passed any resolution on this development. Western media has covered it only partially, and the on-ground reality remains hidden from the majority of the world. Only Russian, Iranian, and some Chinese sources are openly discussing this deal. This secrecy and lack of transparency prove that this is not a normal military sale. It is part of a covert alliance. The domestic reaction in Iran is also notable. Government supporters are calling it the new era of Islamic power. On social media, hashtags like hashtag Zircon for Zionist and hashtag Tehran strikes back are trending, showing that people see this deal as a victory. On the other hand, in Israeli civil society, there is fear and anger. Emergency drills have begun in Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem. Schools are being moved to secure areas. Hospitals are activating their trauma response units. Are these signs pointing toward a larger confrontation? That's the question on every analyst's mind. But one thing is clear: no country can afford to ignore the situation in the Middle East anymore. This is not just a conflict between Iran and Israel, it's a global test of which direction the world is heading. A multipolar world or total war. Now that Iran has these missiles, will it deploy them or keep them for deterrence? That depends on how the battlefield dynamics unfold in the coming weeks. If Israel carries out a major airstrike in Syria or Lebanon, Tehran will certainly retaliate, and for the first time, the level of retaliation could be unprecedented for Russia. This is a diplomatic masterstroke. On one hand, it has found new partners to offset its losses in Ukraine, and on the other, it has sent a clear message to the West that it is not just a European player, but also a military influencer in the Middle East. This is not expansionism. It's strategic positioning, and world decision-makers must recognize it. Let's also remember, a hypersonic missile doesn't just mean a fast weapon. It means a first strike advantage. What was once only available to the US and Russia is now in Iran's hands too. And when such weapons enter unstable regions, even a small mistake can lead to a major global war. The next few months will be crucial. The reactions of the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia will determine which direction the world is heading. If these missiles are deployed in the region, everything will change. This is not just a transfer of technology, it's a roadmap for the future, where wars are quietly being prepared behind the scenes. Just think, if a missile flying at Mach 9 appears over your city in 90 seconds, what will you do? Can the Iron Dome or NATO intercept it? Can the world's superpowers maintain peace? Now is the time to think, to wake up, and to understand the reality. The journey of Zircon from Russia to Iran is not just a path, it's a message that every conflict in the next era will be hypersonic. Are we ready?